Um, we were just talking about, like, I was just saying it's no different than someone who thinks their religious ideology and beliefs are superior. If you think your way of doing things is superior, like you literally feel this I'm better than, that comes
Yeah.
with suffering. So anybody who thinks they're better than you, if they think that, give it to them, right?
Yeah.
Just let them have it.
Yeah. Exactly.
I would, because I just, it's, they're suffering a lot.
Yeah, it just made me have a thought. Like earlier today, I was thinking about comments my mom or my mother-in-law have made about me, my weight in the past, which wasn't even a weight issue anyway. And I was thinking about how that hurt me at the time, but really, even if they make comments again, it really doesn't hurt me anymore because I don't care.
No, well, you don't care, and you can see that that is truly what they're being held captive by. Like they believe that. And
Yeah.
that's their love language. I mean, this is what I realized about religion is that when people have this religious supremacy, wouldn't you want your child to be in that supremacy with you?
Right.
And so to me, it was like,
Right.
oh, that is a really messed up form of love. But nonetheless, it is so loving to want your children to be in your superiority with you.
That's true. That's a good way
Or
to
to
look.
not want inferiority like yours.
Yeah.
Make sense? And so
Yeah.
if they say something, you just have to be, you just have to know that if they were aware of that dark, horrible space, the worst thing, the number 10 on the scale of 1 to 10, if they were aware that that's how you felt inside, wouldn't they rather you be overweight?
Yeah, that's
No.
true. They obviously are just not aware, and that's a good way to look at it.
Well, because if you're accepting they love you the way you love your children, right?
Right.
That if you could explain it, this is the hardest thing to explain. If you could explain to them how horrible this has impacted your life, the thinness, how horrible thinness and the symbolism that was attached to it has impacted your life, they would rather you be fat. Like go up to 200, go up to 215, go to 250 if you need to free yourself from captivity. It's not worth it. It's so
Totally.
superficial. It is totally and completely superficial, but yet requires profound suffering.
Yes. And see, I never wanted to be a superficial person, and I was like, geez,
Well, you
wow.
believed the
Yeah.
symbolism. The symbolism of thin supremacy makes it seem like there's so much depth to the thinness. I mean, it's really symbolic of your hard work, your ability to starve yourself, which is so healthy, right?
Yeah.
Like all of the obsession around what you shouldn't eat and what's healthy for you, it's like amazing. Your whole life is just about that.
Yeah, I do not want that.
No, and when you are around it, you stop thinking, "Oh, they have it. They have it. They've reached the mirage." You realize that they are just as miserable and fucked up as you.
Yeah.
And you start to feel empathy and compassion. I've got tons of Facebook followers who are OCD health zealots. All they talk about is their weight.
Yeah.
And they're selling products for weight loss. And, I just feel bad because I know they're suffering. That's why they're overreaching so intensely with their products and programs and their conversations around it. They're overreaching. That's not okay. They're taking something very superficial and making it and exaggerating it into something so profound. And it's a lie. That's where it's like, and that's a lie because they're miserable. If they talked about how they're on antidepressants, but there's like, oh, that's in my family genetics. Oh, yeah, okay. How they binge. But then, but that's the sugar in the food. That's the sugar in the food. Mm-hmm.
It drives me
Sure.
crazy. Okay, so there was a group I used to be a part of that was like a weight loss support group, and I have really good friends that run it, and they're not doing it right now, and I said, "Hey, would anybody be interested in a non-diet idea? Like, let's just not diet for a little bit and kind of see what happens." Just a throw an idea out there, and people were so mean.
Yeah, because don't you know about the obesity epidemic?
She was like, I would just binge on Oreos all the time then if I didn't make myself not eat them. And I'm like thinking, that's kind of my point. Like, we need to get past this, right?
Yeah, they're not there. They're not there.
No, I know. And I realized that. I'm like, they will search that out if they're
At some
interested.
point. Yeah, at some point when they realize, just like you did. I mean, you could understand what she just said. Like what she just said was like so understandable, predictable one, but so understandable from that small-mindedness. That's like saying if I don't go to church, I'm going to rape everybody. If I don't go to church, what would keep me from stealing?
Totally.
Because you know, this church has proprietary information that no one else has about how not to steal.
Yeah.
Right? If I don't go to church, I'm basically satanic.
Yeah, she's not miserable enough. That's what it is.
You got it. And so you have to just love them and be like, I can totally see that. That's just agree.
Yeah, you're right.
It's kind of like you can't argue with a radical zealot.
No.
Like they are in a position to want what they're doing. They want it. They believe that there's something valuable in it. And that's what they should do. They should have the freedom to do that. That's their own process of awareness. You know, you had to go through that.
Totally.
If you had found me 5 years ago, you would have thought I was a nutcase. She's crazy.
Oh, you mean because of my own beliefs?
Yeah. You know, you should be able to eat whatever you want when you're hungry. Yeah. Like, get rid of the religious zealotry around food. That right away. Oh my God. But what about GMOs? Oh my God. They're going to get cancer.
Yep.
The fear. What about diabetes? Like, if you don't have a diet, what's going to keep you from like constantly eating just straight sugar?
Yep.
Maybe this how sick you feel when you eat it? Maybe that's good enough. No, that's not good enough because you can get overweight. You know, the foundation of body image that goes beyond, you know, just health. This is not just health. So, yeah, I mean, what you're going to need to do at this point is actually reject what you've been yearning for and what you're sad to get rid of. This, oh, I'm so sad not to be thin. Are you really sad not to be thin? Are you really sad if it means you're free from how horrible that whole journey was, your weight loss journey?
Right.
Which was traumatizing. Horrible, traumatizing.
Yeah, definitely.
Right? I've never met someone who, at least who's been on a weight loss journey that would say that it has been so amazing. I love my weight loss journey. It has been the most rewarding, freeing. Like I don't think about anything else. I don't think about it anymore. I did my weight loss journey. I hit the destination and I was free to never think about my weight again or to think about food ever again the same way. Have you ever heard that? Have you ever heard that?
Just in the marketing. That's how they market it.
Yeah, but if what they said was true, they wouldn't be doing what they're doing because they would be free. What they're not telling you is in order for you in your weight loss journey, we're going to sell you these shakes and workout videos. But let me tell you, you cannot eat real food ever again. Ever. No, because the shakes hold the keys to your weight loss journey.
Yeah, I know. There's always a new key somewhere around the corner. No, there's not. There's no keys.
No, because it's really, the destination doesn't exist.
No.
Because you never really get to the island that's peaceful. Because the island is moving away from you the more you go to it.
It's true.
And even if you get to it, it's going to move away from you and you have to catch up.
Yes.
It's not static. It's never still. Ever. You never get peace. Ever. So you can either say, I don't want that peace. I don't even want it. I would rather allow the body to just be all over the fucking place and let my mind have peace from thinking about it, worrying about it. I just accept it. Except that's where we have to go. Accept right now that you're going to be 165 tomorrow. And then the next day it could be 163. And the next day it could be 166. And then it's going to go back down to 162. And do you really want to monitor it? You really want to care. So you have to remove all expectations. Just remove the expectations from it. And then what happens? Just expect, if we were going to expect anything, expect to be unexpected. It's going to be all over the place. You might go up to 180. Just because you need the grace to learn how to eat to hunger. So, it's true. It's like, just get over it. Let it happen. Expect your body to get bigger and to just find its point, a zone of stability. It'll find it at some point. And that zone means that it's not, you don't have, so what we do is you, in your mind ahead of time, expect the vulnerability of gain. Just expect it's going to happen. And just know that, so you accept that ahead of time, and then you set your mind free from having to manage your size. Remember that we talked about paying attention. So once you expect it, then you go to stop paying attention now. Okay. So if I don't pay attention to my weight, if I don't pay attention to the indoctrination of bad or good food, if I stop paying attention, that's what you want freedom from, right? Yeah. So you stop paying attention, and the only attention you do give is, well, when I'm hungry, I choose what I want to eat. And then I eat it, and I enjoy it. And then as soon as I'm satisfied, not full, not in pain, but I definitely feel like I've had enough, the hunger is gone. So it's how I would want my children to eat. Get comfortable, and then you stop paying attention, and you pay attention to life around you. Just start with that, right? Okay. And then, but don't you agree the only way for you to do this is to accept that you're going to gain weight ahead of time? That's the worst case scenario, right? Relative to thin supremacy is if you gain weight by stopping the attention towards your weight and towards food. Is that worth it? Is that cost? That's the cost you have to pay to have the freedom to now not pay attention. Because if you hope to not gain weight, what happens to your attention? I'm paying attention. Correct. Again. Yeah. So the first thing you have to do is to accept that you're going to gain weight. Just accept it. Okay. Be willing. Willingness is key. I'm willing to gain. That's the cost. That's like gambling. I'm willing, and I'm going to accept it and expect it ahead of time. Once you do that, you're now free to stop paying attention and to actually be honest and truthful about learning how to eat to hunger. There's no pressure. You've already accepted it. There's no fear. There's no perfectionism needed. There's no strain around, oh my God, I'm undereating. Am I overeating? Oh my God. There's no strain anymore. Because you're to see that.
Yeah, it makes total sense.
Does it feel simple to you right now?
Yeah, it does.
It's because it is.
If I want to eat like a donut because my kids are having one and I'm hungry, then I'm going to do it.
If you feel like it. Yeah, and you can have a donut later, and you can have a donut later and again all day long. So if you don't feel like eating it, you're not being deprived. Right. You can have it tomorrow. If they're, you don't even have to eat the whole donut because you can eat the rest later. It's never going away now. Yeah. So that's the other part is once someone releases their attention from preventing weight gain or losing weight, now they're going into their relationship with food, and we have to depressurize it, right? And the pressure for most people goes way down when you black out the body from the process of eating. Like your body image should have absolutely zero ties to how you relate to food. Zero. Yeah. And so, I can see that. Yeah, so we go into your food, and there is a depressurizing of it immediately, where you're like, okay, well, if I can eat that donut. Before I couldn't. Now I can. There's an excitement to it. And then you have to go, well, But if I could eat it for the rest of my life, every meal, all the time, do I have to eat it right now? Right this second?
No.
So then you go into, all right, well, I don't have to do it just because. So does it sound good to me? So now you're going into the mouth going, well, does it sound good right now? Yeah. Okay, well, when you're hungry, you can have some. And listen to how your mouth is responding. When it doesn't taste good anymore, stop. Don't make yourself sick.
Yeah.
Right? So relearning that, you're going to need to give yourself grace to go, oh, I think I overate that. Because sometimes you don't know until after a little bit.
Yeah.
And then you just have to wait until you're hungry again to try again. Try again. What sounds good to you this time? Do you want a donut again? Because you can have more donuts. Well, if that doesn't sound good to you, well, then what do you want? And you just have to be able to know, what do I want? I personally didn't know what I wanted when I started.
Yeah.
Because I had been so controlled by my disorder for the period of time that I went into, I'll just feed what I think my mom would feed me if I was 4 years old. Because I felt about 4 years old emotionally. I was like that immature. So I did mac and cheese, a grilled cheese sandwich, grapes, and I made a plate. Like, I just have to eat like I am a child. I am starting over. Like a child. Like a child. I'm just going to do that. And then I'm going to go play when I'm done eating. Like when I feel like I'm not hungry anymore and I feel like I could go play. So whatever playing was, well, I'm going to go study because I was in college. I'm going to go do something. And if I get fat, I am saying I would rather right now. Every time I eat, I would rather. So if I'm eating bad food that is fattening, right? That's been post-traumatic stress fear-mongered into me. I'm going into it. I'm going into the bear. I'm going into the cage with the bear right now, and I'd rather. So I accept it right now because I'm hungry and I'm going to eat a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, which has got starch. It's got the peanut butter. It's got the calories, and the jelly's got sugar. I'm just over it. I'm over it.
Right.
I'm not purging. I'm not, if that feeling comes back, that feeling of panic comes back, I'm not going to run away. I'm not doing it. And it did. The first time it did. It was like, I felt like I was going to die. And you know what? I remember laying there and just saying, I'm done. I'm letting the fat grow on my body right now. I'm done. I surrender. White flag. I'm letting it kill me. This is, if a peanut butter and jelly sandwich makes me gain 20 pounds, I would rather gain 20 pounds. Just so that I can have the freedom to be a kid. Be a 4-year-old chewing on a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Right? So that process, you might not be that extreme in the process. It might not be that intense.
I don't have to, I see what you're saying though.
No, like in those moments, I'm done. I'm not purging. I'm not going to go exercise. I'm not going to do anything. I'm not even going to feel sorry for myself. I'm accepting it before I put that sandwich in my mouth. And even if I feel it growing on my body, which is amazing, right? With the anorexia, it's amazing how you can create psychosomatic, it's like it takes over. I just laid on the floor, wouldn't let myself move. It's like, I'm done. I'm not going to fight it. I'm not even going to close my eyes. I'm going to open my eyes. I'm inviting the bear in to kill me if that's what it does.
I like it.
It's amazing. It was amazing. I only had to do that like once or twice. And then it was like, whoop. Because eventually the bear goes, well, it's useless going in to scare her because she's not even scared anymore. Of course I was scared. I just didn't respond to the fear anymore. I was like, that's the humility, right? That's the surrendering that I talk. Surrender.
Yeah.
You know, I remember originally when I was trying to do it, so there were multiple attempts, but the first attempt I felt sorry for myself. Poor me. I'm going to be that. And that's where you were. The victim position. I have to surrender the superior. Is it really superior? Because it's a pile of shit that you're mentally ill and suffering for. You know? The system is horrible. And it comes with the horror that you're living in. So you either let go of the system and accept your inferiority, or you feel bad about your inferiority and hold on to the system.
Yep. Yeah, no, I just accepted that that's how I was going to feel good about myself, and that's, yeah.
So,
yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Do you feel this is are you getting closer? Is this getting clearer?
Yeah, it is. It definitely is.
So what do you think it's going to take for you to actually make the decision and to just do it, just go in it?
I think I'm there now.
The accepting of the weight gain. Do you feel like that's it? You're there. Like,
I think getting on the scale was important.
Good. You never know. I never know when I go in with a client. I didn't know we were going to do that. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just
I've
like...
heard you do that before in other videos, and before, it always just made me cringe. Like, oh my God, Robin. But it's important. Like, why be scared?
Well, you have to.
If I accept it.
Correct. At some point, you have to internalize this process and do it. You can't just hear it. You have to do it.
Yeah.
You have to go into what's scary, right? And it's like, you know what? Are you really scared? What are you scared of? Shouldn't you be more scared of what you've been doing than gaining weight?
Yes, definitely. I haven't binged or purged since that last time.
Yeah, well, you needed a little slap. You needed a...
I was like, I'm scared to. No.
Well, if you do, it's okay. That to me is like you need to get more miserable, and binging and purging is miserable.
Well, it's just that I can't. Like, the first step is just no purging. There's no purging.
Yep, you have to face the bear, even if it feels terrible. That is going to feel like incredible skin crawl, and you know what? It's over. You're not gonna purge. Have you noticed with that decision that the binging is reduced significantly?
Significantly. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's multiple times where I've overeaten because I'm just like, I don't know.
Yeah, but if you're not gonna purge, all of a sudden you're like, So this is very clear to me too that you don't have a food issue. It's not the food. If it was the food, you would binge, purge or not.
Total, like the donut thing. I let my kids all get a donut today, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to get one too because I know I want a bite at least. Like, I'm not going to not have a bite. And so I did. I was hungry too. I was like, I don't want the whole donut though because it's too sweet, and I really want some real food, but I want to try it, and I didn't binge on it. I didn't.
So you didn't feel bad about it. Nothing was ruined.
No.
Nothing needed to be fixed. That in and of itself is really relieving. Like, all of a sudden, because I'm giving myself the donut, I'm not destroying myself.
No.
That's so counterintuitive to what the diet industry is teaching right now.
That's true.
I know. They're causing a lot more problems.
It's really bad.
Uh-huh. I know.
Anybody in their 20s is...
With thin supremacy. Key is not everybody has this. Not everybody thinks this way. Not everybody.
There's going to be a revolution. It might be your book, Robin.
I don't think so. I think it's happening, and there's more than just me out there. I'm finding studies, social science studies that are being studied in the universities, and they got their shit together. They're putting it together. I'm just giving it a voice between the person in the insanity and living in this Stockholm syndrome within supremacy and the social scientists who are observing, like, this is what we think. We think that this is a massive cultural epidemic because we're massively narcissistic and how we capitalize. Capitalism is narcissistic and what it's selling.
Yeah, but but the general people are not going to listen to some professor, some scientist,
you have to have
I chose you. I needed somebody that could slap me in the face when I needed it.
Yeah.
Seriously, not many people will do that, Robin. And you know that.
Well, I do, but I don't think it's because they don't. I just don't think that they've suffered like this before. I think
professionals that are helping people.
Yeah, I just don't think that they've suffered like this to this degree, or they have not recovered. So if you're coming to me for recovery, I can't afford not to tell you you're not internalizing it. You're still purging. You're not doing what I'm telling you. I can't afford to not. You paid me a lot of money. And even though it's not the money, it's like, I want you to recover. Like, I don't want you to have to suffer. And so if I have this awareness, I can't afford to not say it.
Right.
In the moment, I can see, like, oh, she's clearly convinced, or she's in denial. I'm aware she's in denial. That was a denial statement. Should I just not tell you that? You get my point?
You see it really quickly, though. I do. I just, you're your own person, so you have you have your own perspective. And so, anyway.
Well, I'm glad it's working.
It's helping me.
Good.
So I am appreciative. How about that?
Well, you have to do what I'm telling you to do.
Yeah.
So are you feel like you're ready now? I mean,
I do.
Good. Yeah. It's taken a little bit, but you're here. I mean, when you think about it, the amount of, some people it takes 20, 30, 40 sessions to get them there.
Well, that makes me feel better.
Well, it just depends on this level of suffering. Some people, it takes one session, and it's literally they're like, I would rather be morbid. I'd rather be fatter. I'd rather be so big. I'd rather, and some of these people are already big, where they're just over it. They're like, that was so horrible. The first opening of recovery, they took it.
Awesome.
Some people aren't suffering that bad, so the mirage is still enticing. But I still need to be thinner. I would still be happier if I was thinner. If I were being honest, I would be happier if I was thinner. And some clients just, that's where they stop. They are too in their own mirage.
Yeah, they can't see it.
Correct.
See it's a mirage.
And they're not willing to leave it. I know. That's where you've been this whole time. What are we on? Our 7th session. And you know what? The next time we talk, I might get an email from you. I just can't do it anymore, Robin. It's so bad. I would rather be miserable in my thinness.
I'm going to say no. I'm not going to say.
Hey, I've seen it before. So to me, that's not failure. It just means that there is still, the mirage is still powerful in your life. And until you're willing to surrender it, voluntarily say, even if I could get the thinness and the superiority, I don't want it. Because I'd rather have freedom to focus on my heart and my realness. I don't want to have to be an indentured servant to fakeness and a facade of superiority. I'd rather be totally free to just be real.
Yeah.
And mediocre.
I could
or in
that 155 right now, but it meant that I was not free. It's not worth it.
That's what it's not. That's why you say, I'd rather not.
Right.
Even if you could snap your fingers and be that thin, wouldn't you rather just ignore it?
Yes. If it meant that, yes.
So it's not even that valuable. Because it's not even worth it.
Exactly.
You're not even going to pay attention to it if you get 130. So do you really care?
No, I don't.
That's the key, is not caring. Even if you were 135, you wouldn't want to pay attention to it. You wouldn't want to take ownership of it. You wouldn't want to make it a big deal. So you would diminish its power. So it's like, even if someone could hand you the thinness, you don't even want to care about it. For the clients that I have who are very large, of course it would be easier physically. But if they have to pay attention to it, that's the hardest part. It's like, I don't want to pay attention to it. If I have to pay attention to that, shit's going to get real all over again. So I'd rather just go blind and not even notice. It's like, if you can do that psychologically, you just recovered. You just recovered because you don't pay attention to it. That's recovery. Don't you agree? If we were to say, what is recovery in simple terms? It is not paying attention to your weight and it's conditionless. Doesn't even matter. Fat or thinner, you're not paying attention to it. It has no meaning. Therefore, your relationship with food also is diminished greatly because there's no meaning in bad or good food anymore. There's no meaning in you can't have that anymore. It becomes meaningless.
Yes. Like, food does not need to, I don't want a significant relationship with food. I want food to be food, and that's it.
Yep.
I don't want,
So the only way you get that That's totally separate. So you see that now, like how you relate to your body is absolutely separate from how you should relate to food. Totally separate. They've been intertwined for some reason, and that's where I think the syndrome comes in. It's like the multiple, it's my relationship to my tribe, which I want to be superior. Then there's my relationship to my weight. I want to be thinner, which creates a relationship with my relationship with deprivation. So now there's a triangle between your need to be superior, the relation to thinness to be superior, the relation to deprivation to be superior, and all of that right there is the syndrome. Right? Syndrome it's like a variety of situations that together create a syndrome. Okay? The syndrome would be the eating disorder, which I don't think is a disorder. I think it's a syndrome. Okay, so in order to get out of it, you can't just focus on the food piece. The food is tertiary. It's a third tier, a primitive response to, do you need to be superior? You got to get to where you're willing to be inferior in relation to fatness, right?
Yeah.
Those two then release the food issue. I know this might seem... I'm trying to get it verbalized so that I can write it.
You're doing good. I can see where that would take some time to think about.
Yeah, well, there is no research for me to go read right now. I'm finding studies. I have to learn what's a syndrome. What is Stockholm syndrome? How are you being held hostage? You're holding yourself hostage. You're abusing yourself at this point. But you're taught that abuse is healthy for you. And so it's kind of like the illusions and... It is so fucked up. If I'm just going to be honest.
Yeah. No, I believe you. I agree, but I don't have the clue of the depth that you're talking about, but it's true. I believe you.
No, I think you do. Your suffering is pretty bad. I mean, suffering is suffering. It's just when people are willing to kill themselves because it's so bad, right?
No, ridiculous. Over fatness.
Yeah, well, it's the symbolism of inferiority, and you're a failure, and you have nothing, and it hijacks that response in the brain, which means, and you're gonna die. Like there's a feeling of death around it that is now you're responding to as if it's life and death, and it's not life and death. It's been obviously distorted to be life and death, and that's what you're having to accept. I'd rather be in death than to chase life through thinness. I'd rather just die. And then things can unravel because you're accepting inferiority, you're accepting fatness, and the issues with food just go poof, gone.
It's exciting. Yeah, I'm excited.
Well, you're experiencing it before I have the words to explain it.
Awesome.
All right, let's schedule to talk and follow up. So.
Yes.